When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Hi, I'm John Mallis. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Wednesday morning. Today, kind of a two-part program. First half hour, we're going to break down the debate from last night, the last Republican debate for this year, 2015. We'll break it down with our guy, Dennis Hart. And the second half of the program, we'll have Alicia Anderson in here from the Chaffee Zoo. Your phone calls are important. 436-MeTV, option 11. Back in just a moment. As mentioned, we are waiting for the second half of the program, of course, with Alicia Anderson. That'll be on the Chaffee Zoo. However, the first part of the program, you're welcome to chime in after our guy Dennis Hart breaks the debate down from last night. Took place in Sin City, Las Vegas. That's right, the last national Republican debate of the year for 2015. Of course, the election, the general election, less than 1 year away. And so the major topic of conversation last night among all the Republican candidates was terrorism, national security. As usual, Donald Trump, Jeb Bush got into a confrontation. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz did as well. Here's a look back at portions of that debate, and then we'll comment on the other side with our guy, Dennis Hart.
Donald Trump said that ISIS was not our fight just 2 months ago. He said that Hillary Clinton would be a great negotiator with Iran. And he gets his foreign policy experience from the shows.
Come on,
that is not a serious kind of candidate.
Jeb said when they come across the southern border, they come as an act of love.
You said in September 30th that ISIS was not a
Am I talking or are you talking, Jeb?
I'm talking right now. I'm talking.
You can go back. You're not talking. You interrupted me,
September 30th,
Are you going to apologize, Jeb? No. Am I allowed to finish?
Yes, one at a time.
Excuse me, am I allowed to finish?
Go ahead.
Donald, you're not going to be able to insult your way to the presidency. That's not going to happen. And I do have the strength. Leadership is not about attacking people and disparaging people. Leadership is about creating a serious strategy to deal with the threat of our time.
You can't carpet bomb ISIS if you don't have planes and bombs to attack them with. And if we continue those cuts that we're doing now, not to mention additional cuts, we are going to be left with the oldest and the smallest Air Force this country has ever had, and that leaves us less safe.
If you're going to close the internet, realize, America, what that entails. That entails getting rid of the First Amendment, okay? It's no small feat. If you are going to kill the families of terrorists, realize that there's something called the Geneva Convention we're going to have to pull out of. It would defy every norm that is America. So when you ask yourself, whoever you are that think you're going to support Donald Trump, think, do you believe in the Constitution? Are you going to change the Constitution?
We're getting our best to infiltrate their internet so that we know exactly where they're going, exactly where they're going to be. I like that better. But we have to... Who would be... I just can't imagine somebody booing. These are people that want to kill us, folks. And you're objecting to us infiltrating their conversations? I don't think so.
Yeah, Donald Trump saying, I don't think so. Live on the telephone with us now is our political analyst and the one and only Dennis Hart, who watched the debate with many millions more watching across the country and on the Armed Services Network as well across the world. Dennis, was there a clear winner last night?
Yeah, John, I think the clear winner last night was anger. That has been the winner in the entire Republican nominating process so far. Donald Trump has clearly tapped into this deep-seated anger and frustration and fear that much of the GOP conservative base has. Virtually every candidate last night tried to show that they are at least as angry as Trump is and that they want to take the country back at least as much as he does. Now, in the end, I don't think there were any big winners last night. There were some losers. Trump certainly held his own against the withering attacks that you just showed by Jeb Bush, who led the fight against Trump last night. Trump made some of his typical outrageous statements, for example, that he would try to kill the families of terrorists overseas, not just the terrorists themselves. He had no clue what the nuclear triad was. Marco Rubio had to explain that to him and to everybody else. But he did make news by seeming to agree that he would support the Republican presidential nominee, even if it isn't him. I think that was a good moment for him, and he clearly held his own. Jeb Bush had some good moments last night. He certainly was the pit bull against Trump, telling Trump he would not insult his way to the presidency. Of course, after Trump heard that, he insulted Jeb Bush. He may well insult his way to the presidency. We'll see. He called Trump a chaos candidate, unsuited to lead. But for Jeb, I think it's too little too late, and I think he probably is nearly done in this campaign. Ted Cruz, very strong night last night. Clearly the most conservative of the candidates, more so than Trump by far, clearly closed the door on ever allowing any path to citizenship for illegal immigrants in this country, continuing to say he will carpet bomb. That's ridiculous, but he keeps saying it, carpet bomb enemies in the Middle East. And he clearly came after Marco Rubio several times as Rubio came after him. John, that was a key matchup last night because both of those candidates have to get the other one out of the way for them to have any path to the nomination. So that's why Cruz came after Rubio and played nicey-nicey with Trump. I suspect that, as I said on the air on Monday, Trump and Cruz could well be the ticket coming out of the convention next year. If it is, Cruz will be the VP candidate. Trump will never be Cruz's VP candidate. And that's why Cruz is not attacking Trump. He wants to keep him close so that if Trump needs his support to get the nomination, I think Cruz would give it to him and become the vice presidential nominee. Rubio had an okay night last night, but clearly his immigration stance is not going to play with the GOP's base. He was once in favor of a path to citizenship. That's not going to play with the folks who just hate all immigrants. Chris Christie had some really good moments last night, but he went over the top when he said that he would shoot down Russian fighter jets over Syria if we imposed a no-fly zone. As Rand Paul pointed out, that clearly is the way to World War III. But Christie wanted to show that he's a warrior and a very tough guy. As for the rest of them, John, I think it's pretty near the end for all of them. Ben Carson showed that he has no sense, no confidence at all in Ben Carson in any national security matters. Nearly done now, I think, with his campaign. John Kasich, not really getting any traction last night. Carly Fiorina was reduced to whining about the fact that she couldn't get any airtime, and Rand Paul was almost an afterthought. So, John, I think, the losers last night were Rand Paul, Carly Fiorina, John Kasich, Ben Carson. Everybody else had some good moments. I don't think anything changed. Trump is still the front runner. Cruz is still second. I think the debate sort of solidified that.
So let me get this straight now. Let's break this down item by item now. Let's talk about Donald Trump and Jeb Bush going at each other. You basically said it was too little too late for Jeb Bush, but Donald Trump said he wanted to close down a portion of the internet last night so that the terrorists overseas like ISIS could not communicate with Americans here. They could not recruit. They could not plot to attack us. How do you think that went over?
Well, I think in this climate of fear and anger and frustration that all of us have, and it was punctuated yesterday, ironically, by the closure of the Los Angeles school district because of a terrorist threat, I think that Trump, who, he's not going to shut down a part of the internet. He seems to think there's a switch that one can do that with. That's not possible. But in this climate, that sort of outrageous statement plays with people who don't know very much about the internet or about national security because it seems to offer a simplified answer to what we can do. Sure, we'll just shut down the internet. Well, what part of the internet? There are billions of websites out there. Who's going to shut it down? How would you possibly do that?
So, Dennis, does that play into the fact, like we talked about on Monday, that Donald Trump is playing to the white, angry male who is far less educated than the people that are supporting some of the other candidates?
Well, yeah, that is what every survey shows. And after we were on the air, the Washington Post ran a story indicating just that Trump supporters are largely, and this is not a negative, it's just the way it is, white males with less than a college education, making less money than a lot of other people. These are angry, frustrated people. The economy has left them behind. They think the country is slipping away from them with gay marriage, with immigrants, etc. Yes, that sort of rhetoric. You know, the rhetoric of we're going to kill the families of the terrorists in the Middle East. Well, first of all, that would violate the Geneva Convention, which the United States is a signatory to. So Trump would not only try to ban Muslims from coming to the U.S., which would violate the U.S. Constitution, he would violate the Geneva Convention. All simplistic, over-the-top rhetoric for people who are not sophisticated enough to understand what he's really saying.
It may violate the Geneva Convention, but it certainly plays right into the hands of those people supporting Trump. And by the way, speaking of the Geneva Convention, you know, bombing ISIS, Russian President Vladimir Putin has his jets flying over Syria, trying to bomb ISIS, but instead of bombing ISIS, he is bombing innocent civilians himself. Isn't that right?
Well, right. That's what happens when you go to war. And that's why Cruz's statement last night about carpet bombing, where he said, I won't target cities, I'll just target terrorists. Well, those terrorists, ISIS is in cities in Syria. And when you carpet bomb, you're going to kill innocent civilians. And so that's a part of war. There's no question about that. But when you try to sanitize it by saying, I'll only target terrorists and I will not target innocent civilians, as Cruz tried to say, that's obviously ridiculous, etc.
Right, and Ted Cruz obviously was questioned, I believe, by Wolf Blitzer, specifically saying, would he target a certain city that had terrorists in it, occupying those cities with terrorist groups? And Cruz, I guess, wouldn't answer the question. Wolf Blitzer had to ask it twice.
Yeah, the city is Raqqa, Syria. That's where ISIS is centered.
That's right.
And yes, Cruz has said he would carpet bomb them and light up the desert. Well, that's really great talk for a commander-in-chief. That's really wonderful stuff. But again, he's trying to get whoever Donald Trump doesn't have in the way of support. Cruz is the evangelical candidate now. He's got a lot of evangelicals. Cruz has Trump has none of them. That's not who he's going for. So Cruz is trying to differentiate himself with Trump, and he's also taken away virtually all of Ben Carson's evangelical support, because the more this has become an election about national security, and it's become that, Ben Carson looks as if he's so far out of his element that, frankly, he's almost gone at this point.
Right. Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, they're trying to get each other out of the way, as you mentioned. Who has the edge right now? Is it Cruz?
Yeah, Cruz has it. There's no question. He's leading in Iowa. He's second to Trump virtually all across the country. Rubio is the establishment Republican alternative to Trump at this point. Jeb Bush was, but Jeb Bush has simply failed to catch fire and has been dominated in almost every debate by Trump. So Jeb is almost gone. And so that leaves Rubio. And Cruz had to come after Rubio last night because basically one of them has to get out of the race. You know, they're both from Florida. The Florida primary is going to be coming up in a couple of months. One of them has to win that primary. If you cannot win in Florida and you're from Florida, when I said Cruz is from Florida, that's obviously wrong. He's from Texas. But Cruz or Rubio have to win in Florida. They have to win in Super Tuesday. And so Cruz is trying a demolition campaign on Rubio right now, trying to get him out of the way. In Florida, Jeb Bush will probably lose. In fact, the polls show that Trump is actually leading in Florida right now, a crushing blow to both Jeb Bush and to Marco Rubio. If Trump wins Florida, frankly, it's hard for me to see where they're going to win anywhere else. I just don't know where they could possibly win if they can't win their home states.
Hey, I got to ask you one final question here. And on the way into work today, I was listening to the radio. I heard Rush Limbaugh commenting about the debate last night. He said the most impressionable moment for him for the debate was when Donald Trump was asked whether or not he would leave the party, leave the Republican Party, if they did not accept him as the nominee. And I think Trump's answer was, if I recall correctly, he spoke from the heart, and it wasn't a typical bombastic Trump answer. He spoke very honestly from the heart, he says, I want to stick to the Republican Party. I'm proud to be in the lead in these polls. I'm proud to be a Republican. He was very proud to be on that stage. And so it wasn't a typical Trump answer. What did you think of that moment when he was asked that question, Dennis?
I thought that was Trump's finest moment of the night. I thought that's when he looked more statesmanlike than he has at almost any point in the campaign. I was impressed with that. I was not expecting that answer because, as you know, he has threatened numerous times to pull away if he's not treated fairly, if the convention is pulled away from him, if he has a lot of delegates and he doesn't get the nomination. He's threatened to run as a third-party guy, which would destroy the Republican Party. But if he indeed stays with the party, no matter who the nominee is, that's a big deal because the one thing that united all of the candidates last night, and there were vast differences between them, the one thing is this anger, this visceral anger against President Obama and secondarily against Hillary Clinton. That's why no matter what the differences are between the candidates on that stage last night, whoever the nominee is, they will support that man. They will support, or that woman. It's not going to be Carly Fiorina. I mean, realistically, you've got 3 potential nominees right now, I think. Maybe 4. You've got Donald Trump, you've got Ted Cruz, you've got Marco Rubio. They certainly are still viable out there. No question they are viable. A 4th candidate, that's hard. It could be Christie, it could be Bush, but it's hard for me to see either one of them getting the kind of traction they need to overcome Cruz and Trump at this point.
Yeah, let me tell you that as time goes on here, as we get closer to the Iowa caucus, and you were in Iowa, of course, you met Lindsey Graham and other candidates, you know that it looks like more and more because of this Washington Post poll. This latest poll has Donald Trump at 41 or 43%, way out in front. Ted Cruz is a distant second, but it almost looks like to me it's going to be Trump and Cruz at the top of the ticket. And the head of the Republican National Committee was on CBS this morning. I saw him, and they asked him, will it be a brokered convention? Will there be a fight on the floor in August come this summer? And he basically said, no. Are you surprised?
No, I'm really not, because I think any talk of a brokered convention would splinter the Republican Party, would cause, well, again, Trump would not, even though he says he'd support the nominee, he would not like that. I think what's likely to happen, and anything can transpire, anything can change in the next few months, as you and I well know, being in news for 35 years, we know things change. But if Trump continues to do 40%, if he continues that, and Cruz does his 15 or 16 or 17% across the country, that is a majority of delegates when you get into the convention. Between the two of them, they would have 55, 56, 57% of the delegates. That's where a Cruz goes to Trump, offers the delegates to him, and the quid pro quo is Cruz becomes Trump's vice presidential candidate. John, I see that as an avenue right now. It's impossible it would have been impossible to see that 6 months ago, but there's no question in my mind that is a potential avenue for us to look at, and I agree with you. I think that could happen.
Yeah, and I promise this will be the final question. Donald Trump is behind in Iowa. If he loses the Iowa caucus, does he still have a chance at the White House?
Oh, for heaven's sakes, yes. I would expect Donald Trump to lose in Iowa because that's a very evangelical state when it comes to Republicans. I think Cruz wins Iowa. I think the following weekend, Trump wins in New Hampshire, and then I think Trump continues. We go to the Carolinas. We go to Super Tuesday. I don't see anybody beating Trump in any of those states, quite frankly. So, yeah, I think what Iowa will do is solidify Cruz as the second guy, even though he may win the caucuses and temporarily get that big push. Down the road, Cruz is just the second guy to Trump. Barring some unforeseen circumstance, I now think Donald Trump is on the road to the nomination, and Cruz could well be the VP.
Isn't this fun, Dennis?
Most fun I've ever had. You and I have talked about this now. This is my 45th time on your show in these last few years. And we've talked over these last year and a half about how this is the strangest campaign we have ever seen. I have never seen anything like this. Trump, with all of his statements, with all of his bombast, with all of his outrageousness, should have fallen apart by now. But the country is so angry, so fearful. He survives. Nothing touches him. It's a remarkable thing, and I think it's going to be quite a race between Trump and Hillary Clinton. And yes, I think Hillary's got the nomination. So it's going to be Trump versus Hillary, I think.
Yeah, I mean, and nobody can explain why Trump hasn't gone down in the polls. Had it been anybody else making these bombastic comments, certainly they would have fallen apart. But Donald Trump shoots from the hip. It's as if he's straight out of Dallas, Texas, with a six-shooter, and he'll shoot you right between the eyes, and that's what people like. I guess somebody who shoots straight from the hip and tells it like it is, according to their viewpoint. I don't know.
Well, you know what it is, John? The Republican base has become so angry and so disaffected because they wanted their people to destroy Barack Obama. They wanted their people to block Obamacare. None of that happened. They're angry. They're frustrated by a country they see slipping away. Here's Trump, completely politically incorrect. Lambaste John McCain for being a war hero. He wasn't a war hero. He was captured. Lambaste Megyn Kelly for asking tough questions. Lambaste Carly Fiorina for having a face that Trump doesn't like. It's remarkable what Trump says and gets away with, because I truly do believe, as I've said many times on your air, he is saying what a lot of angry white men have wanted to say for years and couldn't get away from it, or couldn't get away with it because of political correctness. He's saying what a lot of people want to hear.
Yeah, but he's almost like the drunken cowboy who can't shoot straight but comes stumbling out of the bar and shoots the bad guys out on the street.
There's no question. I mean, when you hear his rhetoric, when you actually listen to what he's saying, I'm not sure he actually believes half of what he's saying. We are not going to deport 11 million people from this country. Never going to happen. We are not going to impose a religious test to keep Muslims out of this country. Never going to happen. And yet he says it, and people buy into it because they want to buy into it. That's really what they'd like to do. But there are these other things like the U.S. Constitution and the Geneva Conventions and things like this that will block Trump from doing it. Yeah. But he's a wild man. You're absolutely right. It's like a show out of the Wild West. It's like a Gunsmoke episode. It really is.
It really is. By the way, you can watch Gunsmoke each and every Monday through Friday or Saturday right here on MeTV at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Dennis, thank you so very much. I really enjoyed talking to you, and boy, I look forward to these next several months with you here on the set talking about this race. It's going to be very interesting.
It's going to be very fascinating. I'm looking forward to it, and on Monday you get another political analyst, Bradley Hart, coming onto your show.
Yeah, someone told me, now I don't know this to be true, he's the younger Hart, the better looking one. Is that true?
He certainly is the younger one, better looking. I'll let the audience decide that. We have to put up side-by-side pictures or something.
All right, Dennis. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You betcha. Take care, John. Bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Dennis Hart, our guy, a political guy here on the show. MeTV Fresno. He's been on Connect with Me. 45 appearances now for Dennis Hart, breaking it all down for us here, and you, the audience members, as well. Hey, we're going to come back with the second half of our program. We'll talk about the Chaffee Zoo and the African adventure. Oh, what a time we're going to have here in the next 35 minutes. I'm glad you're with us here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. Be right back in just a moment.
Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance. Enjoy generous-sized cooktops and saute or simmer with ease, while true convection ovens offer even baking and juicy roasting perfection. Foods stay their freshest in spacious refrigerators with convenient controls and clear filtered ice and water. Easy to clean surfaces reduce fingerprints, and the quietest of dishwashers makes cleanup a snap. The new Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance.
Not sure what you're watching? Want to see what's coming up next? Or just want to browse what's on without the hassle of flipping channels? Your wish has come true. Now you can view schedules for all the digital TV channels available in the Central Valley. Get local weather updates and forecasts, and listen to nationally syndicated Biz Talk Radio, all on KVHF 4.1. Rescan your TV now, then tune in to Digital Channel 4.1 to start enjoying the all-new TV Guide.
And we're back here on the show. Of course, a Wednesday morning. We'll get to our regular monologue segment now here. Let's get right to it. You're watching us live on Comcast, channel 375, or Xfinity, if you will. You want to call it Xfinity, you want to call it Comcast, call it whatever you want, my friends. It's cable television. We're on cable TV, but if you don't have cable and you want to watch our program, you can on 43.6, 13.1, live every Monday through Friday between 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning. We are live at this very moment, my friends, as I speak and live and breathe. Anyway, the replay comes later in the day at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6 YouTube, 8 o'clock tonight, 4.6 Biz TV in prime time. Hey, no football tonight, so you can watch us in prime time. And the Twitter account is at John Mallos, Me TV. Still very chilly out there in the mornings, near freezing or below freezing in some parts of the Central Valley. So with the weather update and when it's going to warm up, probably won't warm up until the spring, I don't know. Here's our guy Austin Reed from the Justice Network, part of the Me TV and Ventura Broadcasting family.
Good Wednesday morning. Hi, everybody. Austin Reed checking in from the First Alert No Wait Weather Center with your weather update here on Connect with Me. I hope you're having a great day. Another chilly morning. Whew, very, very cold. We were below freezing once again across the Central Valley, but the sunshine continues today. Let's look at the First Alert No Wait weather forecast for this 16th of December, basically the middle of the month. Almost a week away from Christmas. 52 will be the high today. Tonight will drop down to 32 degrees. Humidity right at 67%. Sunny skies today. It's going to be another gorgeous day. Coming up tonight in your No Wait weather forecast, we'll talk about the rest of the week. We have a warm-up on the way. And then more showers this weekend. How much will the rain be? I'll tell you tonight. We'll see you then. For now, Austin Reed here in the First Alert No Wait Weather Center on this Wednesday morning for Connect with Me. John, I'll send it back to you. Have a terrific Wednesday, everybody.
All right, Austin, thank you very much. You can watch Austin Reed every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock at night, part of the Ventura Broadcasting family and the Justice Network. He'll have those weather updates for you as well. Well, my friends, to the main part of the program today. Here is a Wednesday morning, and you wanted it, you paid for it, and my friends, you got it. I'm talking about the African adventure at the Fresno Chaffee Zoo. Let's roll the videotape, and I'll show you exactly what I am talking about. This thing has been open now for the past couple of months, and it is fantastic now from what I understand. This by far is the largest project ever at the Chaffee Zoo, and it came with a whopping price tag of $56 million, all Measure Z money from 2004, which means your taxpayer money hard at work. Measure Z also paid for the Seal the Lion Cove, Stingray Bay, Dino Dig, and a River Otter project. The African adventure took 21 months to build, managed by Harris Construction. It was built and finished on time, by the way. Here's some of what you'll see. About 100 animals or so. Most of them are big. Lions from San Diego, African elephants from Arkansas and San Diego, rhinos from Florida, cheetahs from Nebraska, and pelicans from Canada. The African adventure was mired for 3 years in litigation over whether the city of Fresno's environmental documents for Roding Park were properly completed. But that's all past history. It's now completed. It's all done. It's there for you to see and enjoy. Live in our studio right now is Alicia Anderson of the Chaffee Zoo. She is back for a second time. By the way, she has a long way to go to catch up with Dennis Hart. Her second appearance. Dennis Hart's been on here 45 times. If we go on for another, 5 or 10 years, you might be able to catch up with Dennis Hart, and we'd be happy to have you. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, 436 Me TV option 11. I'm so glad Alicia is back here to talk about the Chaffee Zoo and the African adventure, open now for the better part of 2 months. What do you think? Have you been there? Have you seen other parts of the zoo? It's very fascinating, and will this bring the zoo up to the standards of the rest of the country? Is it a first-class, first-rate, world-class zoo that we have right here in the Central Valley? 436 Me TV option 11. So many questions, and we have the expert in here to answer all of them. Back in just a moment.
Me? You got me?
Me TV is
is memorable entertainment television.
Sure sounds good.
With a lineup of classic television shows you remember.
I remember years later.
And shows you can discover for the very first time.
What a good stuff.
Here he is.
To me?
You can watch MeTV Fresno on Xfinity 375 starting August 25th.
Are you going to watch me or ain't you?
MeTV is memorable entertainment television.
Well, knock me in the head. It's not the Seal Lion Cove, it's the Sea Lion Cove. I think I misspoke there for a minute, but you know, who cares? It's all there for us to see, right?
If it makes you go to the zoo, that's all that's important.
Right. And how is your name spelled, by the way? It's it's Alicia Anderson.
Alicia
I know that.
Anderson,
Okay.
Alisha.
Yeah.
Because my mom didn't know how to spell it, so she sounded it out.
She
so
did?
that's how she came up with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
Hey,
you
so
go.
what about the African adventure? Are people actually going out there to see this thing now, and do they like it?
Yes. I think a resounding yes is the answer to that. Our attendance has doubled since we opened October 15th.
It has?
Yes.
It's doubled?
Doubled. So we had
You mean double?
92,000 people in November. Normally it's at like a 45,000 person month.
How many so far this month?
I just looked, 19,000 this far, and last year it was like 15,000. So on days, you know, when it's rainy and cold, that 100 or 200 people would come, you're seeing 500 people coming. The weekends are double.
But can you consider November to be a normal month? Because that was kind of the first time the whole thing was open for the first, it was like a first full month it was open, and people are just flooding the gates to get in there. That may not happen all the time. So what do you think the average will be a month now, when it all averages out over time?
Typically they say that your attendance is up for a year after a new exhibit opens. But for us, we opened Sea Lion Cove in 2012, and we never saw a drop after that.
I think it was Seal Lion Cove.
Right, however you want to say it. When that exhibit opened, our attendance went up. Our attendance is up.
But not like this. Didn't go up like this.
Not like this, but this doubles the zoo in size. So Sea Lion Cove was exciting because it was the first thing that we had done with the Measure Z money, the first really significant thing that people could see, because before that it was infrastructure and things like that. So people were really excited to see Sea Lion Cove.
So what does that tell you about people of Fresno and the people of Central Valley? I guess mainly Fresno, not the Central Valley, but Fresno, that they not only passed Measure Z, they paid for it, and they paid for it because they wanted it.
I
what
think
does that
it shows
tell you?
that we want something that we can be really proud of here in the Central Valley and in Fresno specifically. This is something I think that's going to create a great pride in our community, something we can be really proud of, we can brag about. We're hearing now comparisons to San Diego Zoo all the time.
You are? Really?
We really are.
Yeah.
And I truly believe, since I've been in the zoo industry, I've been able to see a few zoos, a few more in California, and I truly believe that the only one we're comparable to in California now is San Diego.
Well,
it's
tell me
bigger,
what the
we'll never be as big as San Diego, but
Yeah.
quality-wise, we're right there. I'm really
Yeah.
proud of that.
Yeah, no, San Diego is huge, and my daughter, we went down there last summer, and my daughter has some special needs, and she couldn't walk it. I had to take the wheelchair.
It's big
because
and
it's
hilly,
gigantic.
too.
Oh, yeah, yeah. It's even rough for an old guy like me.
Right.
So, but it's, no, but what are the comparisons to Fresno to San Diego?
Well, now, especially with African Adventure, they're large, naturalistic enclosures for the animals. So you're really seeing them. We wanted people to feel like they were walking in a safari in Africa, and it's really fun when I'm out there with people that have gone on safari in Africa, and they say, "This is what it looks like." And
Really? So you've had people actually go on a safari in Africa, come to your adventure, and say, "It looks realistic"?
Yes.
You've had people say that. Really?
Yes, all the time. Actually, everyone that I talk to that's been on safaris just is wowed. Granted, Africa is much larger, but still,
no. But I mean,
elephants
on a
are on
smaller
3 or
scale.
4 acres now, and I think a comparison back to San Diego, which I keep hearing over and over because I haven't been to San Diego since I was young myself, is that San Diego, especially Safari Park, is really big, but the animals are still really far away. Where we've been lucky enough to work with the designers that made it big, but yet the animals are still close to you, so you have the guests have that great experience.
Now, that's the one thing I noticed when I went to San Diego last summer is that they are far away. You can still see them, but you know, you can't get up close and personal.
Right.
And so this is different. You can get up close.
You're pretty close to a lot of the animals, and they're still acclimating to the spaces, and the keepers are still learning to work with them in these spaces. But over time, I think already the keeper chats are really exciting, but over time they'll be even more interactive and the animals will be even closer.
I think we have a couple more videotapes of the African Adventure. Let's run one that we haven't seen yet. Let's roll the videotape. We'll talk over it. So what kind of animals for example, what's the difference if I'm looking at an African elephant that came from Arkansas or one that was born here? What's the difference?
An African elephant?
Yeah.
Well, nothing. Doesn't make it different based on where it's been
born. Oh, so there is
no
difference.
But an African elephant is different than an Asian elephant.
Okay,
and we have 2 Asian elephants right now, and we have our African elephants.
Were these African elephants born here or in Africa?
The elephants, let's see, our male was born in San Diego. His mom was born in Africa. So this is now only the second zoo that he's been in.
I guess what I'm asking is what makes them special, African elephants, as opposed to, say, Asian elephants?
Well, I think they're both special. They're different.
What makes them different?
They're different. There's some physical differences in them. An African elephant, the easiest one to identify is they have bigger ears than an Asian elephant. So they're shaped differently.
Okay.
If I had a keeper here, keeper could go even deeper into differences.
That's
And I
okay.
guess there's differences in their
Just trying
personalities.
to get
the easiest
gist of
way
it.
for a normal, everyday person to know the difference is their ears.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can tell the difference between the two
personalities might be a little different. Too.
Right.
Yeah.
Past that, then then they'll talk about their size and the shape of their legs and their feet, and there's differences between the two different species of elephants.
Yeah, and you've got many other animals here too that you've got rhinos, you've got the cheetahs and pelicans. You can all get up close to these animals, huh?
Mm-hmm.
How far away? How close?
Well, it depends on where you are and which animal that you're looking at, but you can be 6 to 10 feet.
Hang on, caller.
6 to 10 feet away from.
That close? Is it a partition or what?
And then our giraffes, we have a new giraffe feeding platform. So if you were there in the past to feed our giraffes, the giraffes used to bend down to you to feed. Well, now you're on a platform and you're nose to nose with the giraffe.
That's a big difference.
Yes.
Yeah, but what separates the human from, say, the elephant or the cheetah or whatever?
Well, there's a barrier, and each, depending on the species that it is, it's different. The cheetah, you're not going to get as close to. There'll be a glass partition between you for safety.
But you can see them real close.
But you can be nose to nose with a cheetah. It's just that there's glass between you. Same with our lions.
Thank God.
Yes.
All right, caller, you're on the air with Alicia Anderson. Go ahead. Nope, gone. Wasn't that patient. Oh well.
Didn't want to wait
you got to be patient.
Talk about cheetahs and lions.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, so this thing. But my gosh, you had 92,000 people in November go through the gates. Is that like an all-time record?
For a November, yes. That's kind of more like one of our spring months are our biggest. It's when a lot of the schools come through. March, April, May are big months. April's been 100,000 person month the last 2 years, which were the biggest months in our history. And now to have a November equal to that. I mean, and just those 2 weeks in October, that part of the year doubled from before, and now December's up from what it was, and we're having a cold, rainy December that we haven't seen a December like this in a long time, and our numbers are still up. So
still through the
it's
roof.
very exciting for us.
Hey, the call is coming in. Let's see if we can capture it here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. Go ahead.
Good morning, John, and good morning to your guests. I've been listening to your show, a great first half, and the African Adventure. I just wanted to comment and maybe a quick question. We had an opportunity to visit the San Diego Zoo this summer, my wife, my 3 kids, 10, 7, and 3, and we had the worst experience. All my kids said, why can't we just go to the Fresno Zoo? And then we just went there a couple weeks ago. We're season holders, and we went when the new adventure park opened, and that place is just awesome. If you live in Fresno or visiting from Fresno, I really recommend going there.
There you go.
John, I mean, your kids are older, but I think you guys would still have a great time out there. It is just the cove, the Dolphin Cove. My question is, what's the next big thing? Because I think Fresno Zoo blows away any of the zoos we've been here in California.
Okay, caller. Thank you very much. That was a nice call.
Yes, first,
so Fresno
thank you
blows
very
away
much.
San Diego.
Thank you very much.
I
That's
wanted
very
to ask
kind.
that caller what he didn't like about San Diego. Maybe it was the hills. It was the size. That can wear you down.
Well,
really can.
And one thing that I really feel makes a big difference between zoos is the guest experience, and it's the staff and the interaction that they have with keepers and talking to people on the path. And I think that's something that we can offer even with our amazing exhibits. Everything's beautiful now. We have a great interaction with our staff as well.
Caller, go ahead.
Okay, mine's just a comment. We've been members for years of the Fresno Zoo, and actually we've been to several zoos throughout the country, but including the San Diego Zoo. But actually, I like this zoo a lot better because you are a lot closer to the animals, and it is more interactive. And the people that work there are very, very knowledgeable about each and every animal, and the doctors, volunteers, and everything. So it's really, to me, a better place. Like I said, I've been a member of the zoo for years, and we go different places, different zoos, and because you also get a discount with our membership to different zoos. But anyway, I just want to comment that it's a wonderful, wonderful place, and we were there for the African adventure, and my kids loved it, and it's a lot closer to any zoo I've ever been to as far as getting near the animals.
Wow, that's a very good testimony. I appreciate the call. Thank you, caller.
You're very welcome.
Caller, let me ask you a quick question while you're on the line there. What didn't you like about the San Diego Zoo?
I didn't like it so far. I mean, unless you went on the cable and we're looking down at the lions and at the where all the safari park was. You really didn't get a close look at anything. So it wasn't, to me, the children didn't enjoy it as much because you're so far. If you take the cable, you're okay, but still you get good pictures. But it's so much better here in Fresno because you're up close and the kids, really feel like it's just more exciting for them.
Wonderful call. Thank you very much, caller. I hope you have a nice day and have a holiday.
Thank you.
Have a nice holiday as well. Thank you.
You do the same. I love your program. You have some great, great guests on.
Thank you very much. Well, Alicia, you are a great guest. But let me ask you something. Do you think part of it is that San Diego has this worldwide reputation of being a great zoo? So maybe, they kind of have it in cruise control. They don't have to try as hard. Where Fresno is up and coming, and you're running to first base as hard as you can. You're not going through the motions. Is there any merit to what I'm saying?
Well, I think San Diego's amazing and their team is amazing, but I think where you're on the right, I think you go there with a different expectation. You go there with the expectation this is going to be the best zoo you've ever been to in your whole life, and unfortunately or fortunately, people maybe have a lower expectation, so then when they come to our zoo, they're surprised. And so that might be a difference too. But we do work really hard on every aspect of our zoo, from the animal care and the exhibits and the staff interacting with guests. To answer the first caller's question, the next big thing is hippo.
Hang on, caller.
Actually, there's two next big things. Hippos, that's an African adventure. On the south side of the exhibit, there's still a few acres that will expand and build African River, which will be hippos, crocs, and some primates. And then we're also going to work this year on doubling our tiger exhibit, so doubling the space.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Oh, yes. I haven't had a chance to visit the African safari myself, which I plan on doing pretty soon as I get a little time. But from everything I've heard from friends that I know that have gone and taken their kids, they tell me that, now Fresno Chaffee Zoo does not have to take a back seat to any other zoo in the whole state. They say, maybe like you said, San Diego may be bigger just as far as land-wise and space-wise. But from everything I've heard, people tell me, other than that, like I said, we don't have to take a back seat to any zoo in the whole state.
Okay. Well, thank you for the call. And what I was going to ask you before I go to break here, I do have to take a commercial break, but it's almost like you know, San Diego Zoo is like the standard bear. They set the bar really high, but they have it in cruise control, and it's almost like Fresno Chaffee Zoo is the upstart. And the upstart sometimes gets more attention, and maybe people like it better. Is that a credible analysis?
I think so. And last year we won a national award, so that's putting us on the map. And a lot of people say that we might be on the track.
What award was that?
What I call the Oscar of the zoo world. So.
Oh.
AZA, who we're all accredited by, Association of Zoos and Aquariums, annually gives out awards, and we got the Top Honors Exhibit Award, which is the highest award you can receive. And we were nominated with the Smithsonian, San Diego, and SeaWorld, and Fresno won.
Oh, wow.
So that was exciting.
Alicia Anderson is here from the Chaffee Zoo. I'm glad you're there. Your phone call is very important. Thank you. 436-MeTV option 11. We'll talk more about the African adventure and the Chaffee Zoo in just a moment.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. The Justice Network is seen here in Fresno and made possible by the Ventura Broadcasting Company. To see how law enforcement all across Central California are fighting crime, watch Local Choice with Austin Reed, where you'll see interviews and special reports with those who keep us safe every day. Local Choice with Austin Reed, daily on the Justice Network, Fresno, exclusively on KVBC Channel 13.5.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Whirlpool appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Touch the new Whirlpool Ice Collection. It offers a modern style made to create an inspiring kitchen experience. Save big on this Whirlpool Black Ice or White Ice kitchen. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Back here on the program here. Just, can you believe Christmas is next week?
No, I can't. I'm just thinking I still have all of this week still and all of next week.
What is up with that? So we decorated our tree at my house 2 weeks ago, okay, right after Thanksgiving. Put up this nice, beautiful tree, all these brand new white, and the white lights go out last night. So we have to re-thread new lights on there? Oh my God, I'm not doing that.
Or you could just test
is?
each light and try to change every single one.
Are you kidding me?
I'm teasing you.
Oh my God, I would rather tear the tree down and start over again. And I'm not doing that. I'll let my kids do it. But anyway, so the restaurant experience. Email question, what about the restaurant experience at the Chaffee Zoo? I know that going to the San Diego Zoo, there's a restaurant at every corner. I mean, and restrooms all over the place. How about the Chaffee Zoo?
That's a great question. That's something I'm very excited to talk about.
Because when I got to go to the restroom, okay, I got to go to the restroom.
Well, I was talking more about the food, but there are plenty of restrooms. There's beautiful restrooms in African Adventure now.
How many?
There are 2 sets of restrooms on each path, and then several in the lodge, which is what the question was about, the lodge.
Okay.
And that is our new food experience. So the Safari Cafe is still there. On busy days, we open the Nasara Grill.
And we're looking at the African Adventure. Are those the rhinos?
Those are the rhinos, and you're looking from the lodge view.
Oh.
So I say that this is the best place to eat in the country because there is nowhere else in the country that you can have wonderful bistro-style food and sit and have this view. This is what you're looking at.
Can I get heart-healthy food there too?
You can.
I can. You like salads and...
You walk in first to this beautiful servery, and there's a grill station that has the hamburgers and chicken nuggets that the kids want. There's always a chef's special there. Then there's a pizza oven, which has 4 signature pizzas that are delicious.
My kids will like that.
And there's definitely something for everyone. Then there's the station that you will like, which are amazing salads where we have 2 salad specials or a build your own with kale and quinoa and everything healthy that you could want.
My heart will like that.
Yes, it will. and your mouth will too because they're delicious. And then we always have about 2 soups and mac and cheese.
Look at that.
And Yeah, that's one of our we have about 5 different species of antelope out there.
Wow.
That's the lodge right there. So inside of there is where you eat, and then there's also sandwiches, and then a few grab and go things for the kids. So and then there's coffees and ice cream on the back side. So there is something for everyone. You're looking at the elephant enclosure right there.
It almost looks like a golf course there.
It does. When the grass went in, it really did. They've had fun on the grass, so it doesn't quite look like that anymore because they're having a great time out there. We have 2 females and a male, so we hope that someday we'll have baby elephants out there.
Okay, so how many elephants do you have?
We have
roughly.
We have 3 African elephants in the exhibit. There's, like I said, a male and 2 females.
Correct.
It's a mother and daughter pair because female elephants stay together their whole lives. And then in our Asian area, we have 2 Asian female elephants.
All right.
Now you're looking at the giraffe.
The giraffes. I like the giraffes. I like the way they kind of, they look sophisticated to me. They look elegant.
I agree. I
Don't
think
they?
They're very elegant. And it's really fun to see from this platform, you see the giraffes from above because you're face to face. So then you're looking down on their bodies, which is really interesting to look at them from that vantage point.
Yeah. What's that view we got there behind us in the monitor? What is that?
That is, you're still looking kind of from the lodge. This is all like a panoramic view from the lodge.
Okay. All right. So how many lions, how many cheetahs, how many rhinos?
We have 3 lions. We have a mother and daughter pair as well. They're on exhibit right now. And we have our male lion that came in from National Zoo last month, and he is within days of finishing his quarantine. So we should have an announcement pretty soon that the male lion's on exhibit.
Does the Chaffee Zoo consider other zoos like, are you... I don't know. Is it like a hospital where you have partnerships with other hospitals? Are you in partnership with any other zoo across the state or the country?
Well, not partnerships like you hear about someone having a partnership with Stanford or UCLA, that sort of thing. But zoos, I would say, are probably one of the most collaborative industries I've ever worked in. You share all of your work and your ideas so that someone can always come up with the new best idea because they've worked together. We research together. We trade our animals, as you listed where all of our animals come from. So that's not buying the animals; you're trading them, all to help conservation and help the species survive and help the population.
And aren't these zoos rated across the country? Like,
we're accredited.
Accredited.
So there are about 220 accredited zoos in the country.
Accredited.
We're accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquariums.
Exactly?
It means that we work to a higher standard. So they come in once every 5 years and look at everything you can imagine, everything about the animal's enclosure, to how the keepers work with the animals, to our food services, you name it. They're looking at it and examining it, making sure that we are providing the best care for the animals possible, putting them in the best situations, working with them the best way. And, only then, and actually I just saw a certificate that came into the office the other day that we've been accredited for 25 years in a row. But I think we've been accredited even since 1929, but we have an award for our certificate for being accredited for 25 years in a row.
Gosh, we got 30 seconds left. So the next time that you come in, maybe you can bring one of the keepers.
That would be fun.
Be careful what animal you bring in, because I'm a scaredy cat when it comes to like lions and cheetahs and all that stuff. So don't bring a cheetah in.
Well, I have one keeper that will have anyone liking a snake by the time that she is done talking to you.
Okay,
that's
Alicia.
Your challenge.
You're going to give me nightmares. I'm not kidding. But you'll bring one of the keepers in.
Yes, that would be fun.
I love having you here.
Oh, thank you. We love being here.
It's great. It's great to have you here, and have a happy, wonderful holiday season.
Thank you.
Merry
Same
Christmas.
to you.
Happy
Merry
New
Christmas to you, too. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Come
Thank
back
you
again.
very much.
All right. Alicia Anderson of the Chaffee Zoo, and I'm so glad she was here. Her second appearance here on the program. Connect with me. We'll have her back next year with a trainer here. I don't know if maybe it'll be Jack Hanna. Who knows?
We had Jack Hanna here a few weeks ago.
I know. He was here.
He sang our praises.
All right. So if Jack Hanna likes the Chaffee Zoo, you got to like it too, right? All right. Who's on the program tomorrow? Oh, that's right. Nancy Hollingsworth. She's the president and CEO of St. Agnes Medical Center. She'll be here for the full hour tomorrow. And your phone calls at 436-MeTV, option 11. That's going to do it for us here on Connect with Me on MeTV Fresno. See you tomorrow. Have a great day and stay safe.